Solomon led us through countless bookshelves to a circular hall deep in the library. The walls were covered in glowing runes, and a huge magic circle was drawn on the floor. Through the debugging eye, I could see these runes were actually precise subroutines, collectively forming a massive operating system. Just then, a scream interrupted my observation. A young code weaver stumbled into the hall, with a ghastly wound on his left arm, dark red code fragments continuously seeping from the wound. Mark. Luna immediately ran forward. What happened? The Void Corporation. The young weaver said with difficulty. They broke through the city's outer protective array. Many companions were injured. Solomon's expression immediately became grave. It seems their actions are faster than expected. Luna, take care of Mark. I'll go reinforce the protective array. Wait, I called out to Solomon as he prepared to leave. Let me try. Through the debugging eye, I could already see the nature of Mark's wound. It was a corrosive malicious code that was destroying his life code. This reminded me of a virus attack I had dealt with at the company before. Arya, help me analyze this malicious code structure. Analyzing. This is a code virus based on quantum entanglement principles. It continuously replicates itself and destroys the host's code structure. But Alex, I've found its operating mechanism is very similar to ordinary computer viruses. With this information, I immediately took action. My fingers moved quickly in the air, the debugging eye allowing me to directly see and manipulate the magic codes. I first wrote a simple isolation program, surrounding the malicious code to prevent it from spreading further. This is modern code structure. Solomon watched my operations in surprise. I never thought this method could also control magical energy. I didn't answer, continuing to focus on debugging. Building on the isolation program, I wrote another parsing code to break down the virus's core structure. Finally, with a simple cleanup program, I completely eliminated all malicious code. As the final line of code was completed, Mark's arm wound began to emit a soft light, and quickly healed. Amazing. Mark moved his arm in disbelief. Several elders tried to heal it without success. How did you do it? In our world, this kind of program is called antivirus software, I explained. The principle is simple: identify, isolate, and remove harmful code. Interesting method, Solomon said thoughtfully. You used modern programming thinking to create a completely new healing magic. This is exactly what we need now, innovation that breaks conventions. Just then, a commotion suddenly came from outside the hall. A woman wearing a silver robe hurriedly walked in. Professor Elena. Luna bowed to her, then turned to explain to me, she's our theory course instructor. Master Solomon, Elena's expression was serious. The situation outside the city isn't good. The Void Corporation is using a new type of virus spell this time. Our protective arrays can barely resist it. Let me see. I volunteered. Debugging eye activated. My vision penetrated the walls to look at the city's outskirts. Sure enough, a dark red code storm was eroding the protective array, those malicious codes like countless devouring insects. This is some kind of distributed attack. I quickly recognized this pattern. They're using many small virus programs to attack simultaneously, working together to create greater destructive power. Can you solve it? Solomon asked. I nodded. We need a more efficient protection program. Arya, help me calculate the optimal code structure. Roger. Arya said cheerfully. Based on analysis, I recommend using a layered protection architecture, with basic filtering in the outer layer and deep defense in the inner layer. With Arya's assistance, I began writing the new protection program. This time, I integrated modern network security concepts into the magic code. Multi-layer firewalls, intrusion detection, real-time monitoring. These technologies that protect computer systems in the real world were equally applicable here. Remarkable, Solomon watched as I wrote the code. You've created an entirely new protection magic system. As the final line of code fell into place, the new protective array began to take effect. The dark red virus code hit the protective layer and was immediately decomposed and purified. The whole process was like a perfectly running security system. "This is amazing," Luna said excitedly. "You perfectly combined modern technology with ancient magic." "No, this is just the beginning." Solomon's expression became serious. "The Void Corporation's actions being so aggressive this time indicates they've prepared for an even bigger plot. We need Alex to master more magical knowledge as quickly as possible." He turned to me. "Starting today, you're a special student at the Code Weavers Academy. Luna will be your guide, helping you familiarize yourself with this world's rules." "What about Arya?" I asked. "She's also an artificial intelligence program. Will she face rejection in this world?" "Actually," Solomon smiled, "your AI assistant might find even greater room for growth here. This world's rules apply equally to program life forms." "That's fantastic." Arya cheered in my mind. I knew this world would be interesting. However, before that, Solomon's expression suddenly became serious. "I need to warn you about something. The debugging eye is a double-edged sword. It allows you to see the world's essence, but also places an enormous burden on your brain. Using it without control could lead to mental collapse." I nodded, the memory of that intense headache still fresh. "Well then," Solomon clapped his hands, "Elena will take you to arrange your accommodations. Starting tomorrow, you'll formally begin learning magic, young debugger." Watching Elena lead us out of the hall, I felt both excited and nervous. This magical world constructed of code still had so many unknowns waiting to be explored. Most importantly, I seemed to have found my mission to protect this amazing world in a programmer's way. "Hey, Alex," Luna suddenly turned around. "Want to go to the cafeteria later? I can introduce you to this world's cuisine." "Sure," I agreed with a smile, "but before that, could you teach me some basic magic theory? I mean, I can't rely on brute forcing with the debugging eye every time, right?" "Of course," Luna winked, "but I warn you, magic theory is much harder than programming." "Is that so?" I said with feigned ease. "Once I apply object-oriented programming concepts to magic, I might create a whole new spell system." "You," Luna laughed, "are just too rational. Magic sometimes needs a bit of emotional intuition. Not everything can be explained by logic." Looking at her smile, I suddenly felt this strange world wasn't so scary anymore. At least, I had found someone I could trust. And Arya secretly added in my mind, "I think Luna's right, boss. And I've noticed your heart rate increases slightly when you see her, which in medical terms is called." "Shut up, Arya," I said helplessly in my mind, but couldn't help smiling.